Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Anton here, and we're back with a brand new video. I'm going to show you guys how to create a simple search command for your Discord bot. It's very useful for music bots, or if you just want to search for YouTube results in general. So the way it works is you're going to do a command called search, and then you're going to type something in. So you can type in either a video or your favorite music or whatever. So I'm just going to say Martin Garrix Tomorrowland, for example, and this is going to give me a bunch of results. As you can see, I have 25 results. And yeah, and then I can go ahead and type a number. So it says select which song you want by typing the number. We'll just do 1, and then it's going to delete all those messages, and it's going to say react with checkmark add to queue. Now this is optional, I'm not going to go over it, but if you wanted to do something like that where you can react to that message, it'll add it to the your internal queue system for your Discord bot. So and then it will just add it to the queue, and then once whichever song is done playing, once it's ready, it'll play that song, or it'll play that YouTube URL. Okay, of course this works on my other server right now because I don't have the voice channel set up. But yeah, we're not gonna go over it though, so don't worry so much about it. Again, this is more of a general thing on working with the YouTube API, and you can use this to incorporate it. You can incorporate this with your music bot. Okay, so to get started, you want to go over to console.developers.google.com. Obviously, you need to make sure you have a Google account, okay, because we are using their API service. So you want to go ahead and create a project, and you're going to go ahead and just create a project, blah, blah, blah. Once that's done, I already have a project already, so I'm just going to select, let's see, well, actually, let me actually create a project. I'm going to call this Discord.js music or YouTube search. Okay, so this is going to take a couple seconds, but actually, no, I already created already. Okay, so that's going to, actually, yeah, it's going to take a couple seconds. So we are going to be using a module called YouTube search. Okay, so we're in our project right now. So again, we're going to be using a module called YouTube search, and this is pretty much going to be used to search for videos on YouTube using the version 3 API. And you can see they give you a basic example on how to actually use it. Okay, it's very easy to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to credentials right now. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and create credentials, and we're going to select API key, because you need to make sure you have an API key in order to actually use their API. And I'm going to go ahead and store this inside of my what was that? Hold on. Was that the same one? Okay, no, that's definitely not the same one. Okay, this was an old API key, so even if you try, it's not going to work because I already deleted the project already. Alright, so I'm storing this inside my config.json file, so in case, you don't want to expose any API key in your main bot.js file. Alright, so we're done, and we can actually start using the API. I'm going to go ahead and grab my bot token real quick, so let me just go ahead and do that, and we should be good to go. And as always, the code for everything is going to be in the description. Well, not as always, but I started posting the code. So let me go ahead and just get my bot token real quick. Okay, so I have my bot token, and don't worry, I always reset my bot token, so even if you try to use it, it's not going to work. So let's just do a ready event, handle the ready events. We'll just do constant log, logged in, and then client on message. We'll just do message, if message author.bot. We're going to return. Pretty basic stuff. Okay, so again, what we're doing is we're checking if the message was sent by bot, and if it is, we're just going to return. Alright, so now what I want to do is I have my API key. I want to go ahead and install. Let me get rid of this. So I want to go ahead and install. Let me cd into my directory. Okay, so I want to go ahead and install the YouTube search module, which is the Node.js wrapper that we're going to be using. So to do that, you're going to type, why did it not? On. That should say console.log logged in. Oh, I didn't log in my bot. Client.login, config.token. I think that's what I named it. Yep. Okay. So let's go ahead and do npm install YouTube -search, and that's going to install the Node.js module 4 so we can use it. Okay. I mean, obviously you can use your own, you can just, use like a request library to make the request yourselves, but we have this module already to do things for us, so might as well use it. But of course, if you want to handle it yourselves, you can. But just do the same thing anyways. Okay, so now we have YouTube search. We're going to import it. We're going to say const search equals require YouTube hyphen search. Okay, so there should be no problem with that because we have it installed. All right, so cool. So one thing to mention is that in the documentation for the API, they do specify all of the parameters and stuff that you need. And they also tell you all the stuff that you can pass in. So for example, let me go back to here. And let me go to here. So you can see that this var ops over here is basically an object which has all of the parameters you can pass in. So max results 10. That'll only get 10 results. Okay, so now it's important to note that each call to this method has a quota cost of 100 units. If you want to read more about it, you can. But I think pretty much projects that enable YouTube data have a default quota allocation of 10,000 units per day, an amount sufficient for the overwhelming majority of our API users. Default quota, which is subject to change, helps us optimize quota allocations. Okay, again, you can read all about this if you want. I'm pretty sure every single request to the API is 100. Like every request, as in like, even if you make like I think one call with just one result, I think that itself is 100 units. So if you search with like a max results of just like 2, I think that itself is also 100 units. Okay, so it's actually pretty expensive, I think, in my opinion, which I don't think is enough. I don't know, I could be wrong, but again, if I am wrong, just let me know in the comments, because I've never really worked too much with the data API to really say much about it. But yeah, anyways, so you can, of course, again, just you can read all about the parameters here, for example. But the important part you want to look at is over where is it? Hold on, where is it? I think it's, yeah, I think it should be up here. I think all of these parameters, yeah, so you have optional parameters and then you have required part. But yeah, let me see the documentation again. So we have max results. So where is that max results? And this is underneath optional parameters. Okay. And if you don't specify max results, I think the default will be 5 anyways. And I think the max you can put in are 50. It's from 0 to 50 inclusive. Okay, so up to 50. 50 is the max you can get. Okay. And also, the nice thing about this API is that you can also specify. It gives you a page token to keep track of like which page that you're on. So you can use this if you want to be more advanced. You can search for different pages, but we're only going to limit the user to just like one page. So if they want to search for different results, they need to be more specific. Okay. And most likely, like the popular results will always be on the first page anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. And the type, of course, we're going to make sure it's a video. So let's just go ahead and get into this. So we're going to go ahead and do a simple command. So if message dot content dot to lowercase equals search. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the, hold on. What we're going to do is we're going to send the message to the user. We're going to say, okay, what do you want to search? Okay. So here we're going to actually need a message collector. Okay. And we're going to take in one message max. So in order to use a message collector, we need to make sure we have a filter function. So we're going to say let filter equals, and M is the parameter. We're using arrow syntax. Okay, basically this is going to be the function that's going to be used to process the messages. We're going to be using to check, okay? We want to make sure that we're only taking the messages that were sent by the original author ID that invoke the search command. So we're going to say M, the author.id, because remember, M in this case, the parameter here is the message, okay? And we're going to check if that ID is equal to the original author that invoked the search command, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and say let collector equal message dot create hold on, wait a minute, why is it not, I think it's supposed to be channel actually. message.channel.create. Yeah, message collector. I thought for a second I was on a different version. Okay, so the filter function is going to be filter, and then the options we're just gonna say max 1. Okay. Okay, so then we're gonna go ahead and just create an embed message to make things look nice. Of course, you don't need the embed message, but I want to make it look nice. So I have it already, so I'm just gonna copy and paste it over here. So we're gonna say let embed equal new discord.rich embed. So if you're using version 12, it's no longer rich embed, it's message.embed, but I'm still on version 11.5. And I'm just setting the color to this hexadecimal, and I'm just saying, please enter a search query, remember to narrow down your search, and then YouTube search API. And then we're gonna send that message. Okay, so now also since we're using await, we need to make sure we're doing that inside a asynchronous function, so we need to add async on top over here. Okay, so now we're not using the collector yet, but let me just show you what I have so far. So we're gonna go and do search. So right now obviously this doesn't work, so yeah, but pretty much this is the same thing as the earlier process that I showed you, or the earlier bot when I showed you in the example. Okay, so once we send that message, we need to collect their query, like whatever they want to search, we need to collect that. Okay, so you could honestly use await messages if you wish. You actually don't really need to use message collector, but I just prefer using it. Actually, you know what? I'm actually gonna use yeah, I'm actually just gonna use message collector instead. But of course, you can use await messages. So you could do something like message.channel await messages, and then you can pass in the filter. And then once that's done, or actually, yeah, once that's done, you would get the collected message. So for example, console.log collected, or actually, let me just put collected dot first, or no, wait, this needs to be awaited. I'm sorry. Like the dot first, and then dot content. Okay, I think I actually might just use await messages instead, because in the other example I did use a collector, but I will use await messages instead because it just makes more sense. So let me just try this real quick. Search. Okay, now you just type in 88 Rising, for example, and then that's gonna pop over here. Wait a minute, why did that send again? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, what? Oh, okay, I get it now. Okay, because we, all right, yeah, we need to send it first and then we need to wait for it. That's why. Okay, I don't know why that's sent twice though. That's kind of weird. That should not have sent twice. Okay, there we go. We're good. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that was some weird stuff. Okay, anyway, so now we have their result. Okay, so we need to make sure we await the promise, because remember, await messages returns a promise. And since we're using async await, we want to make sure we're awaiting the promise so that this will block. So in order for us to continue, we need to make sure this happens first. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and just call the API now. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use the YouTube API. So we're going to go ahead and say, well, actually, I'm going to define the options up here. So I'm going to go ahead and say const ops equal, and we're going to say max results is going to be 25. This could be 50 if you want. Key will be, let's see, config.youtube API, I think is what it's called, what I called it. And the type will be video, because you don't want playlists. Unless if you really want to, then you can. Just make sure it's YouTube API. Okay. All right. And that's done. We have our options. Of course, you can pass in other options if you want. You just have to specify that. You can just check the documentation here and look at all of the parameters you can pass in. And of course, if you wanted to limit it to specific video durations, the video duration parameter, so you can say any long, so only include videos longer than 20 minutes, for example. Shorts, so only include videos that are less than 4 minutes long. Yeah, there's a bunch of different parameters you can pass in, so you can play around with it if you wish. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna call the search API. Okay, so the search function over here is actually a tuple function, meaning that once you import it, you can just directly invoke that function with parentheses, and it takes in the search parameter. So in this case, they're searching JSConf, which is, I guess, the JavaScript conference or whatever. But we want to obviously search whatever they pass in. So we're going to go ahead and say search, and we're gonna go ahead and say collected, or actually instead of calling it collected, I'm gonna call it a query. Okay, so query, the next parameter is the option, so that's gonna be OPTS, which is what we define up here, ops. And I think the last parameter, okay, so if you want, you can use callbacks. So you can you can specify a callback over here, which takes in 2 parameters, error and results. But since we're using async await, it makes 0 sense to use callbacks. So if you don't specify a callback function, it's going to return a promise instead. But remember, we're using async await. So we're just going to await this promise. So we're just going to say let results equal await. Okay. Console.log results. Hopefully we don't make enough API calls to the point we get limited, because that would suck. So let's try this now. So if I log the results now, so let's do search Martin Garrix. Okay, so right now request failed. Let's see, I think I might understand why. It's probably because well, let's actually catch this error. Okay, and let's just see what's going on. Search, AD rising. Yeah, it might be a request forbidden or something like that. Like we don't. I think our API key is wrong. Yeah. All right, that's kind of annoying. Let me just check my API key now. Let me just switch accounts real quick. So you guys don't. I'm just gonna check my hold on. Google API console. Just give me 1 sec. Yeah, I might be on an account because I'm logged into like multiple accounts. And it's just kind of annoying. Like the whole interface is just kind of annoying. But let me actually check this out real quick. Hopefully it won't take too long because it does a lot of shit. All right, so credentials, let's see. Okay, I'm pretty sure I do have the correct credentials, but this API key is unrestricted. You know what? Let me actually just use... Okay, wait. Actually, no, I think I know why. I think I may have not enabled... I may have not enabled the YouTube data API, actually. So... let me just see. Yeah, okay, so you need to make sure you enable it. So just go over to libraries. Okay, so right now all we've done so far was created a project, but we don't have any APIs available to use yet. So you want to make sure you enable. So you just click on this enable, type in YouTube, and this should pop up data API. Click that and enable, and then that should enable the API for you, and it should be good to go. It should be able to work instantly. Okay, awesome. And over here you can see a bunch of stuff. You can see your overview, you can see the metrics, you can see the quotas, and as you can see, yeah, we have 10,000 max, and then the credentials will give you your API key, which of course you want to make sure you have restricted. And of course, if it does get compromised, you can always delete it like that, and you can create a new one, which is pretty awesome. All right, so let me just change this. Okay, so this should be fine. Our API key is fine. So let's go ahead and try this again. Okay, and let's go ahead and do search AD rising. So this should be okay now, hopefully. Yeah, perfect. Okay, yep, perfect. Okay, so it's important that I should note that the request, not the request, the results, this variable here, basically this returns 2 properties. It returns JSON. It returns results, the results property, which is an array of all the YouTube results, and it returns a property called page info, which maps to an object, which pretty much just gives you a results, such as results per page, the next page token. So if you want to go to the next page, right? Because right now, if I call this, if I type 88 rising again, it's going to give me the same results. Right? It's going to stay in the same page. But if you want to go get results in the next page, you would need to pass in this page token. Okay, but that's going to be, I'm just going to mention that. So if you want to, handle that yourselves, you can. But we're only going to focus on getting 1 page. Okay, because once again, API calls for this API. Requests to this API are very expensive. Okay, 100 quotas out of 10,000. That's not a lot. That means you only get 100 searches. Again, I could be wrong. Again, so if I am wrong, just let me know in the comment down below, because I don't really use this API much. Okay, So now we have our results object. What we want to do is we want to reference that this results property over here. So we're just gonna say let YouTube results equal results dot results, and that's gonna be that array. Awesome. Okay, so now that we've gotten our results, what we want to do is you want to display that to the user. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and say, I think we're gonna map it actually. I think I'm gonna map it. So I'm gonna say, actually wait, no. So this might throw an error. So we want to make sure. So we catch the error over here. Okay, so we're gonna say if results, then we're gonna say let YouTube results equal results. Okay, and if we do that, if you want the page info, you can do that, but we don't really care about the page info. So what I'm gonna do is I want to basically get all of the YouTube titles. I want to get the titles, and I want to send it to the user. So kind of like how I did it over here, where actually I can't really show you because it got deleted. But we're basically going to get all of the titles and then put that inside the description. Now it's important to note that if you search too much, like if you have a lot of results, because remember Discord messages, the description has a max of I think 2048 characters, so you want to keep that in consideration. So you might want to, so if you have a lot of results, you might want to split it into maybe 2 or 3 embed messages. But since we have only 25, we should be okay. So I'm gonna say let I equal 0, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say let titles equal YouTube results, and we're gonna say map. So remember, map is a function that pretty much you call map on an array, and we pass in a function to modify the original content to return it to the new array, if that makes any sense. So basically, for every single result in this map, we're gonna increment I++ first, because what I wanted to do is I want to get just a title with the number in the beginning, if you saw earlier. So I'm gonna return I+, we're gonna concatenate with the closing parentheses, and we're gonna say result.title, like that. Okay, so basically map will return a new array with all of the elements mapped, basically transformed. Okay, so it creates a new array with all the elements transformed. Okay, so I highly recommend you check out how map works, but if I console.log titles right now, you're gonna see that this is just going to give us a new array with all the titles. So instead of having all of this, this stuff over here, because we don't really care so much about the this other stuff, we only care about the title themselves. Okay, because we want to send this to the user. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. So let's go and do search rising. So let's look at the terminal. So you can see we have an array of all of the titles with the number in front of it. Okay, awesome. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna send this message to the user. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say message.channel.send, and I'm gonna say let's see. We're gonna do embed. So if you want to know something cool, you can actually send embed messages like this as well by passing in objects, passing the I think it's called the message object. I'm not too sure, but we can say the title is gonna be select which song you want by typing the number, and then this has a property called description. Oops, not description. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the array, so titles, and we're going to call .join, because I want to join that array into one string, and we're going to join it with the new line character, so that way it can display on its own individual line. Okay, now there's a chance that this might throw an error, and the reason why it might throw an error is because the message is too long, or we have no permission, so you want to make sure you handle your errors. Otherwise, you're going to get an unresolved, I think it's I forgot what it's called, promise unresolved, something like that. But I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. Unresolved promise exception, something like that. Anyways, okay. So, all right, so now we're going to make sure the user selects the correct message. We're going to make sure the user selects the number. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do another, we're going to need to use await messages again. So because we're getting user input. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and define a new filter because remember, await messages needs a filter function. So we're gonna say, let's see, filter equal m, and what we're gonna need to do for this filter is we want to make sure that the author is the same author that invoked the command, and we also want to make sure that they're selecting the correct number in the range. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, let's see, if m.author.id equals message.author.id, and we want to make sure that actually, no, we can actually just do this. So we make sure that the authors are the same, and let me actually put parentheses around here. And we want to make sure that m.content is greater than or equal to 1. So between 1 and 25. Or, well, not 25, but the length of the array. So in this case, the length of our array is going to be 25. So you want to make sure it's less than or equal to. So m.content is less than or equal to YouTube results dot length. Okay, so that's going to be our filter function, and we're going to pass that in. So we're going to say let collected, or actually I'm just going to reuse that variable. So I'm going to say collected equal, actually no, I'll just say, yeah, wait, what am I doing? Let collected equal, so we're going to say message dot channel dot await messages filter, and then we're going to go ahead and say max matches 1. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and say let selected equal, so we're going to reference the YouTube results array now, and we want to get the, because remember, we have the array of an array of all of the YouTube results. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to reference the array at the position that they specified. So if they type 1, we're really trying to reference index 0. Okay, so to do that, let's say if we type 1, we're going to go ahead and say collected. So this is a collection, so we're going to say first, because remember, when you await messages, this is going to resolve it's going to return a promise. Oh, we also need to await this as well, but it's going to basically return a promise that resolves a collection of all the messages mapped by their ID. And because we're only ever getting one message, it's going to we can just call dot first. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and say dot content, so that's gonna be the number -1. Okay, and of course you can also add a check too. You want to make sure you add a check as well. You want to make sure that the content is a number. Okay, but I'm gonna let you guys handle that yourselves. Okay, so once we do that, so now the selected part is going to be the element at that position. Okay, -1. So if I type in 25, right? We're really referencing index 24, which is going to be valid because YouTube results, the max is 25 for us. Okay, and then what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to send them a new embed message. So I'm going to say let embed, or did I define embed earlier? I did. So I'm going to just say embed equal new discord.rich embed. And I'm going to go ahead and say set title. So the title of this is going to be selected.title. Because remember, this element here is how do I say this? It's basically this object over here. Remember, these objects are inside the array that was returned from the search. Okay, so we can reference these properties over here. Okay, so I can say the title, then I'm going to set the, let's see what else I want to do, set the URL so they can go to it if they want to. The URL is going to be selected.link. Okay, and then we're also going to set the description because the element also has a description. And then we're also going to set the thumbnail as well of the embed message to selected.thumbnails. So this is actually an array, I think. Well, no, it's not an array, but it's an object, and it has different thumbnails. But it doesn't really matter too much because it's a thumbnail of the So you can just do defaults and then just do URL, and that's gonna set the thumbnail. And yeah, and then we're gonna go ahead and send that message. So we're just gonna say message.channel.send embed, and let's go ahead and try this out. Okay, so let's go ahead and do search 88 Rising. Okay, so we just select whichever number we want. So if I do 10, it's gonna give me this. Why did it do that? This is definitely not what I want to search. That is really weird. That is some weird stuff going on. Hold on. That is really weird. That should have not. Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me just check something real quick. Okay, so search query. I'm so confused. Type video, max results. Query. Okay. That is actually really strange why I got these results. Because it should have given me different results. I don't know why it's giving me these. Is it searching for something else? No, that's definitely not right. Hold on. Search. Okay. Hold on. Oh wait. Oh wait. I messed up somewhere. I'm sorry. So because remember this is a collection, so I guess it's giving us default searches. I don't know what it is, but content. There we go. I'm sorry. So because remember await messages returns a collection. I just forgot to get the actual message content. So this should fix it now. So let's try this again. 88 Rising. Perfect. All right. So now if I type, let's say if I type 26, it's not going to work because it's not in that range. But if I type 25, it's then going to give it to me. Okay. And then I have the link to this URL. I have the thumbnail, as you can see. I do not want this, the description of the YouTube, and then the link to it. So that's pretty awesome. And of course, obviously it doesn't have the emoji reaction, but that's something you can implement yourself. Then you can have it add to your queue if you have a music bot system. But of course, that's just a basic. It's just a basic, how to use the YouTube search API, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So yeah, and a couple things I will mention is you want to make sure that you set a cooldown on this command because if you don't set a cooldown, people are gonna abuse it, and you're not gonna be able to search anymore because you're gonna get limited. Okay, remember it's 10,000 quotas, and that's not a lot if you think about it. But yeah, so set a cooldown for it. For each user, or maybe even for the guild. I would recommend setting it for a guild. And also I would also recommend caching your results as well. So adding it to like either you can add it to memory, save it there, and then send those results back. Because quite frankly, those results won't really change over time unless new videos are uploaded. Okay, but yeah. Anyways, so hopefully this video helped you guys out a lot. And of course, if it made sense, definitely leave a like or subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, any doubts, make sure you join my Discord server or just leave a comment down below. It's just much easier if you come on the Discord server and ask questions because, asking questions on YouTube comments, most of the time I'm going to need to, if it's like a really basic question, then I can answer easily. But if it's like something that you need help with code, then I would recommend just joining the Discord server, check it out, ask questions, blah, 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 whatever. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to leave a link to the description to get the code for this, so you can just check it out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.